Welcome to MMAPlay365, I'm Newsome and I'm here to give you a Base AI recap from last weekend's event from the UFC prediction software at UFC 288. Overall, the straight pick prediction accuracy across the win-loss was 75%, 9 correct, 3 incorrect, so a really good number there. But there's also, and more importantly, a lot of underdogs that Base AI picked correctly. There's also a value spot, there's also an education spot as well, so there's a lot for me to run through here, which I'll try and do in under 10 minutes as I normally try and do, just to make this short, snappy, but also give you the content, the education, the value, and the solid picks as well. So let's jump right into the education piece. And the first one is Claudio Ribeiro versus Joseph Holmes. So this was actually one of the 3 incorrect predictions from Base AI, like Joseph Holmes, the underdog, which, to be honest with you, I disagreed with, but the reason I've added it to this breakdown is just to give you an idea of how to look deeper into the straight, or deeper into the predictions away just from the straight pick prediction accuracy. And I say this a lot, there's a lot more to Base AI than just who it picks to win and who it picks to lose in a specific fight. There's different ways you can, attack fights and look at where the value is and what has more value than another element of the predictions and the percentages and the data that we give out. So again, Ribeiro versus Holmes. Now, Ribeiro to win, Base AI had at 43.15%. So 43.15% Base AI said Ribeiro would win, which odds implied that's plus 132. Now, Ribeiro to win, he did win. So that was an incorrect prediction from Base AI because Base AI was picking Holmes, but Ribeiro was around minus 150 to minus 175. So there wasn't even any value in picking the loser. So what I mean by that is sometimes if Base AI has a 51% and a 49%, but the 49% is a minus 200 or, a plus 200 or a plus 300 underdog, then that 49% would be a value play for sure, because Base AI is saying a fight that should be a coin flip has actually got a big underdog on the losing side. So that would be a value play, but here there's no value in Ribeiro. But the reason why I'm breaking this down is because if you look at Ribeiro inside the distance, now to get you inside the distance number, you just add the knockout and submission percentage together and you get 42.85%. Now that's very close to the Ribeiro win outright. Now at 42.85%, the odds implied there are plus 133. So now you can see, let's look at the odds implied. Ribeiro to win, the odds implied from Base's percentage is plus 132, but inside the distance is plus 133. Now you look at the betting line difference, rather than taking minus 175 from Ribeiro to win outright, because the line is so close, Base AI is saying if Ribeiro wins, he's going to finish this fight. So rather than taking minus 175, if you did want to bet this fight, you would now be looking at inside the distance at minus 125, much closer to a pick'em, much further away from, the 2-1 favourite that Ribeiro was. So if you are dead set on betting this fight, then you wouldn't have taken the money line, you would have chosen the inside the distance instead. But let's take it one step further. So Ribeiro to win by KO TKO, Base AI is saying it's at 41.37%. Now at 41.37%, the odds implied there is plus 142. So now compare the KO to the inside the distance. The KO is plus 142, odds implied. Inside the distance is plus 133. There's not a huge difference in the two lines. So now you look at the betting lines, and Ribeiro to win straight up by KO TKO is minus 114 to minus 125. So if you are looking at the minus 125 line, you might as well take the inside the distance because you get the submission and the DQ in that as well. But if you've got access to the minus 114 line, then Base AI is basically saying, look, if Ribeiro wins, he's going to win by knockout, not by submission. So you might want to take the minus 114 over the minus 125, and now you are really at a very close pick'em. So this is where, like I said, it's an education piece, because Ribeiro to win on the... none of these had value from where Base AI set the percentages to what the odds were at the bookies. That's not a fault of Base AI. That's just how the public and the markets are working at the bookies. But if you are dead set on betting Claudio Ribeiro and you're using Base AI to find out what's the better bet, then you're going to be looking more towards inside the distance or the straight knockout TKO over than Ribeiro's money line, because There's just more value in the inside the distance in the KO. And Ribeiro did knock Joseph Holmes out very close in round 1, but did it early in round 2. So yeah, a good education piece there of just look at the different percentages and just find out what's the better bet for the fight that you want to bet. And moving on to the next fight, I'm going to discuss a little bit of education again as well, and also does fit into the value criteria. So we've got Khaos Williams versus Rolando Bedoya. Now, this is an actual correct prediction from Base AI, but what I like about it is how accurate it was, because this fight ended up in a split decision and we had a big underdog. So although if you bet the what would have been a value side on Rolando Bedoya, you wouldn't have cashed your bet. The Base AI was just so accurate in how it portrayed this fight, considering where the betting lines were at. So Khaos Williams versus Rolando Bedoya. Bedoya to win was at 48%. So Base AI did pick correctly. Bedoya did lose, and Khaos Williams was picked by Base AI, but at 48%, the odds implied is plus 108. Now, Bedoya to win was around plus 300 and plus 350, so depending on what bookie you are looking at. Now, if you bet this spot more often than not, you are going to profit long term. So, although you would have lost on the night, that's fine. If you keep betting these spots, eventually you'll only need a few of them to win before you start profiting overall. So, Bedoya at 48%. Yet the market, the bookies were saying he was, he should have been a massive underdog and he was going to get run through. I thought he was going to get run through as well, by the way. But Base AI thought this fight was going to be close, and it played out close enough. There was a split decision. There was also a bit of a bullshit scorecard, giving it 30-27 to Bedoya. That was crazy. But that's MMA judges for you at the minute. But the fight was a split decision. It was close enough to go to a split decision. Base AI had it very close as well. The bookies didn't have it close. There was a value opportunity, and it's in these specific fights where if you keep betting the plus 300, the plus 350 underdog that Base AI is saying should be a near coin flip, it's these types of fights that you'll profit long term. So again, from a value perspective and an education perspective, I thought it was really good to cover that as well. And now we're moving on to the solid winners section. I'm going to fire through all of these. We've got 6 of them to go through, so let's get started. The first one, Ikram Aliskerov versus Phil Hawes. Aliskerov to win, Base AI had at 61%. Odds implied on 61% is minus 156. Aliskerov was anywhere between minus 170 and minus 200, so admittedly there was no value there from Base AI's percentage to where the bookies had the odds at, but the reason why it was a solid prediction is, look, it was in the low 60%. Aliskerov was a UFC debutant as well, and I've said this for a while, Base AI does a really good job on these debutants in the UFC. So yeah, I think it's a solid prediction. It would have been easy to side with Phil Hawes, who has the big power, a wrestling background, and was a big underdog, but it didn't. Base AI was confident in Aliskerov, or confident-ish to an extent where, it was picking Aliskerov within the 60%. Like I said, no value, but a good prediction nonetheless. Parker Porter versus Braxton Smith is the next one. Parker Porter to win, 56%. Odds implied on 56% is minus 127. Now, Porter actually opened up a plus 148 underdog. The Base AI predictions weren't out at the time that line was opened, I don't believe, so I can't really claim that, there was value there because they weren't live on the MMAPlay365 website when those opening lines were released. Parker Porter during fight week was around minus 150 to minus 170, so compare it to the 56% and the odds implied at minus 127. Again, there wasn't much value there at all, but in regards to the actual prediction itself, I almost bet Braxton Smith. I thought that Braxton Smith was going to take Parker Porter out of there, and I'm so glad that I didn't bet Smith, because it was a bit of a very underwhelming performance, shall we say. I think that's the nice way to put it. So yeah, look, although there was no value in the 56% comparing to where the odds were at from the bookies, it was a solid prediction nonetheless. And like I said, it was a prediction that, that ended up winning. And like I said, for me, I thought Braxton Smith was live. Base AI had Parker Porter. So, that was one up to Base AI from that perspective. The next solid winner, now we're getting into the underdogs. We've got Virna Jandiroba versus Marina Rodriguez. I thought Rodriguez was a fighter that was going to have a lot of success in this fight. And look, if I'd have got the flipped line and Rodriguez was the underdog, I'd have probably bet Rodriguez, if I'm being honest. But Base AI was confident in Jandiroba to an extent at 58%. Now, at 58%, the odds implied on that number is minus 138. So Base AI was saying that Virna Jandiroba should have been slight to moderate favourite at minus 138, but in actual fact, you could have got her at anywhere from plus 175 down to plus 110. I think the line did flip on fight night once the fights had already started on one of the bookies where Jandiroba, turned into a minus 115, very, very slight favourite. But during fight week, when the Base.ai predictions were out, plus 175, plus 110, any plus number for what Base.ai is saying should have been a slight to moderate favourite at 58% and minus 138 is a solid prediction. And on an underdog as well, it provides a lot of value. And the next solid winner to talk about, and also an underdog as well, this was actually the dog of the week at MMAPlay365 from Base.ai as well. The dog of the week at MMAPlay365 is basically, I pick an underdog, Base.ai's biggest underdog as well, go into the subscription package for $1.99. If both lose, we give you your money back, but more often than not, at least one wins. And in fact, last week both won, to be fair. But here, Matt Frevola versus Drew Dober. Matt Frevola to win, Base.ai had at 63%. At 63%, the odds implied is minus 170. So they were saying Matt Frevola should have been closer to a near 2-1 favourite. But you could have got Frevola from anywhere from plus 175 to plus 200. So this is where there was some insane value. And to be fair, Frevola looked good in the fight as well before the round 1 knockout. So listen, Base.ai absolutely smashed that one. A fighter that Base.ai is saying should be a minus 170 favourite and you're getting a plus 200 ticket on it. Insane value. Next underdog, Xiaonan versus Jessica Andrade. I personally bet Xiaonan as well. I did agree that there was value there. Base.ai had Xiaonan to win at 53%. So look, it's not a million miles off from a coin flip, yeah? Minus 113 is the odds implied at 53%. So again, it's in and around that pick'em. But when you're comparing it to the bookies' odds and looking at where you can get value, Xiaonan was, during fight week, anywhere from plus 170 to plus 140. So for those types of odds, for Base.ai giving Xiaonan favourite status, you're getting a ton of value. Base.ai is saying Xiaonan should be the favourite to win, and you're getting a plus number, especially up at plus 170 as well. Personally, I got plus 165, and Xiaonan made it look easy. So again, another solid prediction from Base.ai, another underdog, and another set of insane value on a fight. The final fight we're going to talk about and fire through really quickly, Belal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. I bet Belal Muhammad as well. I got him at plus 110, but, that line went a little bit lower. It went a little bit higher as well. Base.ai had Belal Muhammad to win at 58%. So just like Virna Jandiroba, Base.ai was saying that Belal Muhammad should have been a minus 138, slight to moderate favourite, but instead you're getting a plus number on him. You weren't getting the same plus number as you got on Virna Jandiroba, but still, look, if Base.ai is saying that a fighter should be a favourite at minus 138 and you're getting a plus number on the odds, on the betting line, then, man, there's a ton of value there. Belal Muhammad, I think, closed at around plus 135. He did go as low as plus 100 on fight night as well. Like I said, I took plus 110 in between both of those. But still, there's just a ton of value there because even at plus 100, if Base.ai is saying a fighter should be minus 138 and you're getting a plus money number on it, like I've said a million times, there's insane value there. So just to quickly recap that, we've got Belal Muhammad, Xiaonan, Matt Frevola, Virna Jandiroba, all underdogs. Base.ai said should have been favoured. Again, a really good event. Then you add in that it was 75% across the board on the straight pick prediction accuracy. A really good event from Base.ai. Really happy with how it performed. Interesting to see where it's at next week, which does look like a little bit of a weaker card, a little bit of a thinner card from a betting perspective as well. So interesting to really see where those numbers are going to be at for UFC Charlotte next week. I'm Newsome. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.